nothing is wrong here, it is all going as planned. No, it isn't. Welcome back to 10-Foot Customs, and on this episode, we're going to be working on Ruby again. After the last Ruby episode, I had a few different opinions come in as to what could be wrong with Ruby's brakes. But the top two opinions were that the brake booster has gone bad, or my proportioning valve has gone bad. Those are the only two pieces in this brake system that are not new. Everything else is brand new, never been on the road, other than the up and down I've done. I don't personally understand how a brake booster could cause air to get into my lines. The Brake Master is a sealed unit. It's got O-ring seals around the plunger, and the brake booster is just a vacuum diaphragm. And in my brain, it doesn't make sense of how air could get through into the master and cause air in my system. That said, that doesn't mean that's not what's happening. Just because I don't understand how it could happen doesn't mean it's not happening that way. So there still could be a possibility that that is the problem, and we're gonna have to go and I'm gonna have to buy myself a new brake booster. What I did buy a proportioning valve. This to me makes more sense that somehow there's seals up here, there's a sliding shuttle inside here that shuts down parts of the system if you blow a brake line. This to me makes a little more sense that maybe some air is getting into this thing somehow. There's an end here that's got a little valve in it or something like that, that's adjustable. I don't know why it wouldn't be leaking under brake pressure, but maybe somehow one of the O-rings or something is causing like a one-way valve situation. I don't know, but this made more sense to me that it could be this. So this is what we're going to try. We're going to try to install a new proportioning valve and see if it does something. With this proportioning valve, I had to buy separately. If you remove this switch, and all this is a switch on top here that tells you if for some reason you blew a brake line, the shuttle that slides back and forth in here has a little detent in it. And when that detent moves, it pushes this up and you'll get your brake light comes on your dashboard. But to keep the shuttle from moving, I had to buy this little tool, which just screws in there very gently. You don't want to crank this down tight. You just, that's it. It sits in that detent and keeps the shuttle from moving. Can you bleed this system without this? Probably. If you were to gravity bleed the system, I don't see why this is necessary. But because I'm already having problems with the system, I figured for the $6 it costs for this tool, I'll know that the shuttle's where it's supposed to be, and I can bleed the system out, know that it's dead centered, and then I'm going to put the piece in of the switch back in. That shouldn't be part of my failure if this doesn't work again. I'm very, very mildly optimistic that this is going to work. I did do a bunch of research on this particular proportioning valve. I read a bunch of reviews. until I found one that said that someone on wrote a review that this particular one fit his late, maybe not late, early, I don't know. It was like a 77, 78 CJ7. And he said it fit perfectly and it worked just fine. So I'm hoping that all of my brake lines fit all of the brake line fittings in here, and I don't have to go out and get different brake line fittings, because that would just be annoying. Seeing as this has a brand new brake line kit. But yeah, there's 5 lines, 2 in, 3 out. We'll see if we can get this installed and see if this solves something, changes something, gives me any indication that, you know, I'm on the right track of tracking things down. So let me get some tools together and we'll put this in. Driver's side frame rail just behind the spring perch. You see a tire, and then the spring perch right here. Right here is our proportioning valve. Get a better view, maybe, nope. The best view you're gonna get is like right here. Brake lines here and here to the front. These up here are the lines coming into it from the master, and then the one back there is out to the rear. This one and this one are 3/8. This guy back here is 1/2 inch, and I'm not quite sure of the ones on the top yet. It's just gonna make a mess when I take it apart. So I'll probably start with these top ones, get them loose, and just try to switch it out as quickly as possible. I mean, there's not much we're gonna be able to do. It's gonna drip brake fluid everywhere, so we'll make it as fast as possible. Actually, something I've never done before, we'll try to do it along the lines of this. And there we go. It did not go as planned, but that is the new proportioning valve in. Everything is hooked back up, and the flashlight is now on because it has gotten dark outside. So tomorrow, I will go over with you what I had to do to make this proportioning valve work, and I have to pick up some more brake fluid because I kind of spilled a little bit everywhere. So get more brake fluid, and we'll see if we can bleed these brakes out. And we're back at it today. I'll zoom you in up here a little bit closer to show you exactly what ended up happening yesterday before it got too dark. Not bad, not exactly what I wanted, but I'll show you here right now. So I think I said yesterday that this is back and all plumbed in. The only one that did not work was this one right here. This fitting is different than the one on the old proportioning valve. It is a bigger diameter, and it's like 7/16 something, no, 9/16 something is this thread. So I had to get a piece of short tubing, you can see to there, and then get a inverted flare coupler, or whatever the union is, to connect the old piece of brake line with this one, because this was the same as what was over here. So then I've got all this looped up brake line right here, which is not ideal and won't stay here. But for right now, it'll be enough to, I'm trying to keep it as level as possible so that it doesn't hold a bunch of air and it'll bleed out. I'll find room to put this. But for right now, it is what it is, and it'll work. What I'm gonna do now, because I did top off my brake master, is I'm going to crack open I'll get a better view here. What I'm gonna do now is actually crack open these lines on the top here to get as much air out as I can there, and then I'll go around and just crack all these lines open just a little bit till fluid comes out, and hopefully get as much air out of this proportioning valve as possible, and get all the air out of this as much as I can. Again, I know I've got a section of air here. I'll try to crack that open in the back somewhere over there is where the brake line comes out. But I'll probably try to crack that open. Oh, there, maybe? I don't know. I'll try to get everything out of this piece of brake line as air as possible, because from the frame down, there should be no air in there. So as much air as I can get out up here is going to be great. So I'm going to go and do that. Well, with all the lines cracked open, I did get fluid out of every single line that goes into the proportioning valve. Hopefully that will give me the best chance of not having a bunch of air in the lines. I am going to probably have someone come out here and pump the brakes up. Hopefully we get some pedal, and I'm going to crack open all the bleeders, which you've seen me done a bazillion times. So you don't need to see that again, but I am going to do that really quick and see if anything changes for the better or for the worse, and hopefully it was a bad proportioning valve. Fingers crossed. Pump them up. Hold it. Pump them up. Hold it. Okay, pump it up. Hold it. Pump it up. Hold it. It pumps up better and holds a little bit actually now. I'm not going to call this a failure yet. I need to put the switch back in for where the, see there, it did go down to the floor though. It holds longer, which means maybe there's just still air in it. So I don't know if the previous owner got the wrong brake line kit. Here is from over there up the frame rail. This line I'm moving comes up here, comes over top of the frame rail here, which is normal. But then Here's my fitting down to my axle. This is the flex line. This line continues past, loops around, and then comes back down. This seems excessively long. Should it work? Absolutely, it should work. Why is it so long, though? It shouldn't be. So I'm going to possibly just go get some lengths of my own line and fittings and just do this and do it. I can't say right because I don't think this is wrong, but do it different. So bear with me. Another Cars and Coffee coming up this weekend, and I'd like to take Ruby, but we'll see. That's it. The 3 main brake lines are removed. They all had fluid in them. I don't know. It wasn't like any of them were empty. I did not remove the 2 coming down to it right here and here. I put that one in, and it's not part of the kit. Wait, no, this one. I put this one in. No, wait. That one. I put that one in, and wasn't part of the kit. This one was part of the kit, but I installed this one. This wasn't on the Jeep when I got it. So I put this one in, and that one, when I tried to put it in from the kit, was damaged, so I replaced it with a normal piece of line. So there's a chance of rain tomorrow, so if it doesn't rain, I will go get line and figure out what I'm doing. If it does rain, I will try to attack this on Friday and see what happens. I also dropped a crescent wrench on my face, and that hurt. So that was adding injury to insult, I guess, on this one. So stick around. Hopefully we'll come up with something. Still underneath Ruby, this is like week 4 of trying to do odds and ends to change how the brakes are working. And I think I posted in the last segment of this video that there was a loop of brake line that I was just going to get rid of. Well, I've done that. And the brake line comes right from here and goes up and over, and I'll eventually get it all fastened in, but then just runs down directly into the portioning valve up there. Hopefully, hopefully last week's video showed you the tool that I used to shorten this line. If this is not fixed now, then it won't be in that video, and it'll be a couple of videos ahead of this that showed you how I shortened this line and redid it. So anyway, that new line is on and shortened, so that should help. And then over here, I currently have 2 plugs, and I bought plugs for the 2 front ports. So the 2 front ports are plugged off. I'm going to put fluid in the rear system and see if I can bleed out the rear system and get a solid pedal doing that. And then if that works, I will undo each of these ports separately and bleed out one side and then bleed out the other side and see what happens, or see if you can find out where the failure is happening. So that is where we currently are with Ruby and Ruby's brakes. So I'm going to get to that. I'm going to put fluid in it and bleed out the rear end, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we come up with something. We have progress. Rear brakes are readjusted back to how they should be, because if you remember in a past episode on this, I over adjusted them. Well, now they're back to where you can spin them and get like 3/4 of a rotation before they drag stop, which is normal. The plugs are still in for the front section, and I have the tool in the portioning valve as to stop the shuttle from sliding back and forth. The master is bled. Everything is, from the portioning valve back, is normal. And I've got a rock solid pedal. It barely moves, like how you want to brake to feel. So, that is progress. We know the rear end is correct. We know everything in the back end is working as it should be. Now I'm going to pull the line that goes to the front end, front passenger side, and install that. I did double check to make sure that it doesn't matter which output. Because there's two outputs to the front. It doesn't matter which one's which. You can run them either side, whatever you want to do. It doesn't make a difference. So I'm just going to run probably the lower one to the passenger side and the upper one to the driver's side. Figure any air for the last one be easiest to get out through the upper port. But that's now. I'm going to run a new one, not a new line. I'm going to just double check this line's running properly and run that line over. We have taken a step backwards. I have uncapped the lower output for the front on the proportioning valve. Ran that, and while I was running it, I let fluid go through. So there was line, like by the time I got it over to the brake hose, fluid was coming out pretty well. And actually I tipped the line up to try to get as much air out of the line as possible, which there was no bubbles. Hooked it up to the caliper, and again, I have no pedal already. I don't even have the left side hooked up. I can pump it up and hold it like normal, release it, back to the floor. I checked and double checked that the master is bled, and it is very well. So now I'm going to swap. I'm going to cap off the lower port and hook up the driver's side and see what that does. Because this doesn't make sense at all. From the master to the proportioning valve seems to be working just fine. How can the lines not? Unless there's something wrong with the calipers. 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 And that doesn't make sense at all because they're the right calipers. Supposedly. I'm not quite sure where I left you off on this video. But what I did do is I did this side the same way I did the other side, where I blocked it off and just had this side running with the line, the other side capped off. Same issue. Pump it up, have brake, let go, no brake. Then I went and I bought this T, and I bypassed the proportioning valve and just went into this. So the front brakes line went into this, and then I just teed it off to both sides, and we still couldn't build pressure. So I think I finally figured out how to build pressure. I don't know what's wrong with the system, unless, no, it can't be. Maybe the calipers are backwards. Yes, if the calipers, but the calipers can't be backwards. Yes, they can be. The calipers might be backwards. And it would put the bleeder on the top.
Bleeder should be on the bottom.
No, it's on the bottom now. I bet you, I think his calipers are backwards. After all this. I'm so dumb.
You're not dumb.
Yes, I am. The calipers are backwards. I'm gonna switch them to the right sides before I. Okay. Well, now I will show you what I found out how to bleed it though.
Please hold.
If you have Katie pump the brake, and then she holds it, and I push on the piston, and then I crack it, and I compress the piston. There you go. There's an air bubble. And then now when she bumps it back up again, the piston moves back out like it should, and I bet you we get good pedal. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Okay, well, the brake calipers are backwards. I don't even know if I'm going to fix it right now, actually. I might just drive it, as long as I got brake. And I'll know next time when I do, well, because I got to change the front axle out anyway. When I change the axle, I'll change it. Oh my goodness. So currently Hit the brake. See, did it go to the floor?
Nope.
Let go of it. Do it again. Didn't go to the floor.
Nope.
Is it a decent spot off the floor?
I think it is.
Like you can get your foot underneath it? Okay. Calipers are on backwards. Whoa, my gosh, so dumb to miss that. Okay. I'm going to put this back together and take it up and down the street, and we will for sure see if we have brakes. Because like none of the brake lines are hooked up right now. I'm going to just zip tie everything so it's out of the way and doesn't get pinched by anything or fall apart. But I want to see if I've actually got brakes, so hold on. So Ruby, not in the driveway and down the road. It is making some kind of weird noise up front. That's wheel speed, but it could be the fact that the rotors have had rust on them. But I want to check that out. But the brakes work. The brakes work just fine. The brakes work fantastic. That was a waste of 3 to 4 months to figure out what I found out. I'm not going to change the calipers right now, since I am going to put the wide track front axle in. The rear has already been swapped to wide track, but I have to repair the wide track front end before I can put it in. And at that point, then I will address getting the calipers on correctly. So, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope everybody has a great week.
Bye.